Hello, everyone, and you're very welcome back to the Justice for Aaron Brady campaign. We are continuing to scrutinise a message sent in by this gentleman here, Mr. Big Stones. He actually sent it in to another social media site, the Irish Inquiry, who launched a video on Aaron's case and a presentation the Justice for Aaron Brady campaign made back in September 2020. Now, this is the message that came in. You can see here we're at point number 5. We have dealt with the other 4 previous points in previous videos. So we're going to look at number 5 now, and we're going to take a bit of time. It's going to take a number of videos to go through the detail that Mr. Big Stones raises here, because it's very, very vital, important part of Aaron's trial, Aaron's case, investigation, and what we say is a possible attempt by the authorities to create a smoke screen in the near future. So we'll deal with it now. You can see here, number 5, Tony belittled everyone who gave evidence and said they were lying. He was playing the rough justice card, yet rough justice never criticised witnesses in the past miscarriages of justice. Always police made the mistake. So we'll deal with the latter part of that later on. But Tony belittled everyone who gave evidence. So we're going to have to break this down very carefully, Mr. Big Stones. And again, we do thank you most sincerely for raising this again, because there would be a lot of the interactions between Garda Síochána and the witnesses who give false statements against Aaron, and a lot of the detail that the Irish public would not be aware of, and indeed people in authority who are keeping an eye on Aaron's campaign would not be aware of. So we want to obviously redress that and make sure that is not the case. So what we're going to look at is obviously the star witness, as he was deemed, Mr. Daniel Cahill, and he was praised. As you can see here, there was a bromance with himself and Mr. Schiller in respect of him being the star witness during the course of Aaron's trial. And it has been laid firmly at Cahill's door, not by us, but by the mainstream media and indeed the DPP and the prosecution, that Daniel Cahill was the main instigator in obtaining a false conviction against Aaron. So let's have a look at Mr. Cahill's interaction with the DPP and Aaron's case in general. And I have to give you some background here. So sometime around August, September 2019, Aaron received 4 or 5 books of evidence. Now, this is generally what a book of evidence looks like. It can be up to 300 or 400 pages, and that's a book of evidence. So Aaron had 3 or 4 of those in September, October, in August, September 2018. By the time Aaron's trial started on the 8th of October 2019, we had 8, possibly 10 of these books of evidence. And then there was a lot of legal argument until the trial actually started in front of the jury in January 2020. And would you believe that when Aaron's trial started, there was over 50 books of evidence? And not only that, but there's the associated hard drives and USB pens and everything that goes along with each of those books of evidence. Now, it's quite simple. We were nearly 7 years after heading for 8 years after the Modern robbery. And the book of evidence, obviously, on Garda Síochána, the DPP was putting this book of evidence together, and yet they seemed fit to bombard and create an avalanche of information to Aaron's defence team during the trial. So just to give some perspective, obviously there's a lot of reading, there's a lot of detail and associated information, hard drives, USB pens, etc. So while Aaron's legal team were trying to run a case on a day-to-day basis, somewhere they had to go and try and read and correlate all this information. And again, we had letters from people who said they were put under duress by Garda Síochána. Those letters were hidden in a file named Diesel Launderers South Armagh. We had all that sort of misinterpretation of information and information that was hidden. And obviously, because of the way the evidence was presented to the court and presented to Aaron's defence team, it was done purposely to hide the corruption, the collusion, and the absolute tampering with evidence. So that gives you some idea of what was in the first books of evidence. But in the first book of evidence that Aaron received, there was witness number 64, Anthony Gerard Maguire, gave a statement against Aaron, stating that Aaron said in a bar, "Have you got what it takes to kill someone?" An absolute load of nonsense and lies statement. Now, he later withdrew the statement and said that he was put under severe duress by Garda Síochána to make that statement. We later found out, very soon after Aaron had mentioned Anthony Gerard Maguire's name, that Anthony Gerard Maguire was caught here in Northern Ireland with £30,000 worth of cocaine, £30,000 worth of cash and ammunition. There's his charge sheet there. We've shown this on numerous occasions. He absconded to America, and Mark Phillips and Paul Gill and the Irish DPP, and I presume Lokenstein, was doing deals with criminals like this to stay in America, or else they would have been deported. And again, when we look at Anthony Gerard Maguire, shots were fired into his house and his car after he absconded, left his girlfriend and children behind him, and fecked off to America. So if someone's shooting at your house when you leave for America, you're in no hurry back, I would have to assume. And that's the duress Anthony Gerard Maguire was put under. But notwithstanding that, Aaron said immediately when he seen Anthony Gerard Maguire's statement, that is a tissue of lies. And he said, "Daddy, please contact Daniel Cahill." And Daniel Cahill will confirm that Anthony Gerard Maguire, Daniel Cahill, Edo Kieran and Davy Cushion attacked Aaron in his apartment on the 17th of March 2015. So the thoughts that Aaron would have had any association or chit-chat or any social interaction with any of these people after that date would be fantasy. It would just be complete nonsense. So again, we know that in August 2019, Anthony Gerard Maguire was in the book of evidence. And we can confirm, and it's there in black and white for everyone to see, Daniel Cahill was not in the book of evidence until after October 2019. Very, very important that Daniel Cahill came so late into the book of evidence. And again, we have been told by the mainstream media that Daniel Cahill was the star witness in the case against Aaron Brady. So here we have witness number 64, Anthony Gerard Maguire. Aaron asked us, his family, to contact Daniel Cahill and ask Daniel Cahill to confirm to Aaron's legal team that Anthony Gerard Maguire was actually part of the gang, that Daniel Cahill was also there, with Edo Kieran and Davy Cushion, and attacked Aaron in his apartment on 28 First Street. So we duly contacted Daniel Cahill, and we sent a message from Aaron's sister Sonia, and this is it here. And Andovani Daily was, or is, Daniel Cahill's Facebook page. "Hey Dano, Sonia Brady here. I am Aaron Brady's sister. Myself and my dad would really appreciate if you could chat to us for 5 minutes over the phone. We understand the problem this situation has caused many people, but I promise from the bottom of my heart, all the Bradys want is the truth. If it suits, we would be available to speak to you at any time that suits you. Kind regards, Sonia." Now, the important issue here with this text message is, if we look at the date, the 11th of August 2019, nobody in Ireland, apart from maybe 2 or 3 members of Garda Síochána who were grooming Daniel Cahill at that time, nobody knew Daniel Cahill was going to have an involvement in Aaron Brady's case. The man who later turned out to be the star witness to attain that false conviction against Aaron. So any situation where Mr. Big Stones is saying we belittled these people, or we intimidated them, or we asked people to intimidate them, nothing could be further from the truth. Any and all the people we contacted, we asked them for nothing, only the truth, as you can see here in Sonia's text message. And obviously, Mr. Cahill never responded to us. But one thing that did happen in respect of the attack on Aaron by Daniel Cahill, Anthony Gerard Maguire, Edo Kieran and Davy Cushion. Those four men attacked Aaron on the 17th of March 2015. During the course of his testimony, when he eventually did come to court, Daniel Cahill denied the event happened. That's the first thing. He denied it happened, although we have a number of people who can confirm it most certainly did happen. And Daniel Cahill was there, and Anthony Gerard Maguire was there. But Daniel Cahill insinuated that he didn't know where Aaron Brady lived, and he was never in Aaron Brady's apartment. Well, we found this picture here, which totally and completely contradicts that. Here is a picture of that is Daniel Cahill there. Yes, that is Daniel Cahill. And he is in Aaron's apartment. So the insinuation that Daniel Cahill was never in the apartment, he was in Aaron's apartment in preparation of going to a fancy dress apartment with a person who was sharing, a girl who was sharing the apartment with Aaron. So that is very, very important to understand. Our first communication towards Daniel Cahill was asking to confirm the attack took place to prove that Anthony Gerard Maguire's statement was wrong. And we have never, ever tried to make contact with Daniel Cahill. Once he came into the book of evidence, we never again attempted to make any contact with him. And that is the reason that Daniel Cahill told a tissue of lies in his testimony, because he said he was never there. We know he was there. But we know all the other lies, and we know about the marijuana and the steroids in his apartment. We know about his illegal immigration status that was dealt with by Matt Katsky and Mary Ann Wade, Homeland Security agents. We know about his machete attack on a group of people in America. So any suggestion that we belittled anyone or anything we have said against any of the people who give statements against Aaron, and we have criticised them, and we have called them out as liars, we have called them out as being compromised, we have called them out for being coerced by Garda Síochána and the DPP to give false statements against Aaron. And yes, after over 300 videos, and we're into nearly 4 years now of running Aaron's campaign, nobody, absolutely nobody, has come forward to say that the Bradys have intimidated them in any way. Nobody has stood up for Daniel Cahill here. All the mainstream media, albeit some of them portrayed him as some sort of a hero when they were allowed to do so and they weren't being called out. They have never come back to say, hold on a minute, this man gave evidence against Aaron Brady, and we are standing up for him, and we believe what Daniel Cahill said is true. Because these people, the journalists, know that Daniel Cahill told a tissue of lies. And we will reiterate once again, if someone had information in regards of the modern robbery at Lordship Credit Union, if someone had truthful information to give about any aspect of the case, we would be more than happy and satisfied that that should be handed over to the proper authorities. No issue with that whatsoever. But the issue is Mr. Big Stones. If someone is telling a tissue of lies to protect themselves, then we are entitled to call them out and say, Daniel Cahill, you are a liar. And we will stand over that, and hopefully when the time is right and any cases against the Bradys for intimidation is brought forward, we will be able to highlight that. And people like this can be taken to court, subpoenaed and questioned. So that is what we hope for, and justice will seem to be done and the lies will be untangled. So very quickly, I'm just going to run through the chronological order here. Anthony Gerard Maguire was in the Book of Evidence in August 2018. Daniel Cahill was not in the Book of Evidence in 2019. Aaron asked us to reach out to Daniel Cahill to prove that Anthony Gerard Maguire was a liar. We had no idea of Daniel Cahill's involvement. When we sent this text message on the 11th of August 2019, we had no idea that Daniel Cahill had anything involvement in Aaron's case. None whatsoever. And then, as it transpired, Daniel Cahill and Anthony Gerard Maguire both told a tissue of lies. One caught with £30,000 worth of cocaine here in Ireland, shots fired into his house. Daniel Cahill, serious involvement with the real IRA or the Ryan gang or whatever they were called in Dublin. Stabbed numerous times, admitted in a newspaper article and in a podcast created by himself that he was being groomed by these people. So this is the type of individuals who give testimony against Aaron. So that's the timeline of how our interactions with Ando Vanni Daly, aka Daniel Cahill, took place. And I hope that gives some idea to the depths the authorities went to hide the corruption, collusion, and the criminals, drug dealers, illegal immigrants that they were doing deals with. So that's the first part of it. We will move on to Christopher Morton in the next video and show his link to his cousin, Anthony Gerard Maguire, and his friendship with Ando Vanni Daly, his friendship with Daniel Cahill, and show that there is a chain and a nest of people who are prepared to tell lies for green cards and for cash. So we look forward to doing that in the next video. Thank you again to Mr. Big Stonks' question. We will be hovering over question 5 for a couple of videos, but hopefully we can clarify the details and the times and the interactions with all those who purged themselves or were willing to purge themselves against Aaron. Thank you.